I wanted to start. Everybody know you from Chicago.
Mhm.
When did you start coming around to comedy? Was it being in Chicago, or was it something that came a little later on in your life?
It was much later, bro. Like I was raised in Chicago, and then I ended up moving to New Mexico. I went to New Mexico State University, and so I always wanted to act, man. Like, ever since I was a kid. But growing up on the South Side of Chicago, I wasn't seeing the industry in my face. Like in my neighborhood, there was no auditions. There was no. I mean, there were, but I wasn't seeing them. And because they film a lot of movies in Chicago, and then that only grew as time went on.
Ferris
But like
Bueller's
when I
Day
was a
Off.
kid, it's like another world. Like, man, you got to be in LA to, you got to be white. First of all, you got to be white.
Hey, why you thought you had to be white to be in Hollywood?
Because, man, it was like, I was seeing shows like The Cosby Show and like, Good Times, What's Happening reruns, and like, Amen. But I was more interested in movies when I was a kid. Even though I watched mad TV shows, we be watching TV shows left and right. I was movie driven. Like movies excited me, and it was like the only movie star that was black that was a bona fide star to me on my radar was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, straight up.
Like Eddie Murphy, it was like when I was like fully cognizant of like watching movies and getting excited about them. The genre I was really seeing was like, the big budget Indiana Jones and like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, those type of movies. So and then my older brothers watched a lot of horror movies and stuff like that. But the bona fide star was Eddie Murphy, and I was like, I saw 48 Hours, and I saw him on SNL, and then I saw him transition into Beverly Hills Cop, which was huge. And so I was like, man, he's like the only black guy movie star. Even though Richard Pryor had box office hits before that, it didn't really resonate to me the way Eddie did.
Right.
And so I was just like, man. And so for me, I know I'm not an Eddie Murphy. So I was just like, man, to make it, I got to be white pretty much, because everything else,
right,
it was like Eddie Murphy and then white.
Right. And I can
so,
understand that.
Man, and growing up on the South Side of Chicago, if you're not familiar with the city, Chicago is very segregated, and my whole upbringing was black. It was like, on the South Side is black folks. You go up north, you see white folks. That was it. And so my teachers, my friends, my whole environment was just black. And I was like, man, this ain't Hollywood. And so I would just had that little dream in my head of like, man, I'd love to be an actor. But anyway, let me do something. And so, and I never wanted to do theater. Like, Chicago is a theater-rich city. And so when I went to the Regal Theater to see plays, I was like, this is cool, but I wouldn't want to do no theater, man. Where the movies at?
Right.
And so, yeah, that's how, man, where the movies at?
Straight
all
up.
That Artist Thou and,
I did Shakespeare in middle school, so I know what you're talking about. Some bullshit.
Man, because it was the language. Like, I didn't connect with Shakespeare's language. And then when I would watch, like, you see something at the Regal, it's a black production. So I was like, oh, this is cool. But, like, maybe if I was able to see The Wiz live, I'd have been like, yo, this, And so, it just became like a dream of mine. But I was like, man, it's just a dream. And so, but I still never lost that passion for movies and acting. And as I got older, and then when I went to college, I was making my own I was making Instagram Vine videos in college.
Oh, okay.
That type of, just doing it for the love of it, doing like funny horror skits and whatever. And then they would get around campus and be like, man, this is funny. And we were just doing it on the strength. But my major was psychology, because I was like, man, I don't want to do theater. So I didn't want to major in theater. And I didn't get accepted into a film school. So
which one you applied to?
I applied to this film school in Santa Fe. I don't even remember the name of it.
God damn, Santa Fe ain't accept you? Now that's some bullshit.
Man, they was like, nah. All right. It was humbling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh.
If I can't get into Santa Fe, then god damn. Yeah.
I apply anywhere else, and Santa Fe was like, nah, you ain't good enough out here. You just hear that little falcon overhead, that little desert noise. And,
Fucking tumble.
once you get that first deny on something you was already uncertain about, you be like, all right, I'm gonna just, secondary education. And then, mind you, to your original question, I'm still never even remotely thinking about being a stand-up comedian. I'm focused on acting. I'm like, man, I want to be an actor, acting. And so I auditioned for a play on campus of Mice and Men.
Absolutely.
Auditioned for it just on the whim. I let me audition for this and not get it. I got a role in it. I played Crooks. Loved it. I was like, yo, theater ain't as bad as I thought it was. I won an award for that. And then I did another play with the same director. It was like a holiday play. I was playing various characters. I was like, yo, theater is better than I thought it was. And then when I did Fences, and I played Troy Maxon, which is the lead character, and I realized that I could memorize all that dialogue and deliver it in a straight shot. I was like, man, I got to pursue this acting thing for real. So that's when I dropped out of school. I only had a year left before I got my degree in secondary education.
That's how Keenan Ivory Wayans was, I believe, too. I think he dropped out his senior year or before his senior year.
Yep. And I was just like, I got to do this, man, because this is going to haunt me if I don't really truly go for it.
Now, was your mom supportive? Were they supportive of that?
You know what? To be honest with you, bro, everybody was supportive. Like, now, mind you, I'm already a father at this time. I'm already, a grown man. And it was just like, yo, I'm moving to California to pursue acting. And my mom was like, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was scared to tell my dad, though. I was scared to tell him because he was all about that education. I'm like, yeah, graduate. And he was sending me money, And then I was scared to tell him. And then I didn't tell him till I was already out here.
You're like, hey, Pops.
Yeah.
I just moved into my apartment in Burbank.
Yeah, I dropped out of school. But anyway, how's Gloria doing? That's my stepmother, and but surprisingly too, he was supportive.
Wow. Did they see you in any of those productions, in any of those acting productions?
No.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, they just knew. I guess they just trusted my decision making.
So you was out here raw dogging in these college streets. That's how old were you when you had your first kid, your first son?
Oh, I was 22 when Serene was born.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my second son was born. I was 24.
Okay, but you was married though, right? You was married when you first came out to LA, right?
Yeah, when we got here, we were married, but we had the kids before we got married.
Gotcha. All right, you did it the right way.
Yeah, you get the kids first, then you get married.
Then you get married. Come on, man. That's how we do it.
They need to put in these biblicals. Yeah.
All right.